It's very hard for the man to understand a woman because he's lost himself and has no a sense of who he is anymore. He doesn't understand himself. Therefore, he cannot understand women in any way, shape, or form. And as I've mentioned in the previous videos, if you take in context and you give me the benefit of the doubt, imagine the context of society and the reality that we're in. And man is in absolute total denial. So how the hell can he understand himself when the very basic premise of his life, he's in denial? And if manhood begins with truthfulness, he doesn't have that foundation. If we can say that the essence of man is truth or the quest for truth, the very basic of his quest is rotten. So if he cannot understand himself, let alone understand truth clearly, how then is he going to understand a woman who is now his enemy and reflects to him his lack of manhood? This is the secret. Woman reflects to the man his manhood. Right? So if I'm a man and I go next to the woman, she's the opposite of me. So then she highlights what I am. Everything when I'm in the presence of a woman is highlighted. Well, if I go next to her and I'm not a man, she's highlighting that I'm not a man. Yet I don't understand. So I am furious against her. What more I should do? Look, I build this, I bid this, I have this car, I have this plane, I have this, and still I'm not a man? The foundation of his confusion, he cannot understand a woman because he doesn't understand himself. It's not a cliche, it's the basic. You don't understand yourself. You don't understand who you are. You don't understand where you are. You don't understand where you come from. You don't understand where you're going. You don't understand what's really going on in the world and why. You don't understand what's the alternative and where that goes. You have no idea what the fuck is going on. And some of you went to school. So you can tell me the history of colonial America. Like that fucking matters. So this is what spiritual scriptures were about. Forget spirituality in how we understand it today. Forget their God-man. Forget the dogma. Forget these elements that arguably can make you uncomfortable. I'm fine with that. But that's what these texts were about, to give you a macro vision of who you are, where you come from, what you're here for, what you're here to do, what's happening, what's your challenges, where you need to go. That's why they're called holy books. And that's why these holy books are the most sacred books even today. Even though you may think it's madness, it's not the point. They give a sense of direction, meaning, purpose, point of origin, point of destination. Even if you don't care for it, even if for you it's all fantasy, it doesn't matter. At least, even if you don't know if it's the truth, at least for your mind, you can grab onto something. Versus, what does the modern world teaches you? You came out of nowhere. It's one chance out of a billion, one chance out of infinity that you're there. You're here by mistake, technically. It's hazard. From an explosion that we don't understand that came from nowhere. And this is expanding in eternity forever and for no purpose. This is what you believe. This is what they've taught you. This is the Big Bang Theory and the theory of evolution, which is at the foundation of our modern world. So you're floating in space going towards infinity and you have no meaning and no purpose. You have no beginning, no end. You have no sense of where you are, where you're going, what's happening, and why you're here. What the fuck? Then you wonder why you're insane. Now, the issue isn't that they're telling you this bullshit. They can say whatever they want. The issue is that you don't know. If you believe in a religion, where, let's say it's Islam, or it's Judaism, or Buddhism, it doesn't really matter. They may at least have a sense of a macro vision and they tell you, and at least at a level of your mind, this can satisfy your mind or appease it. But you still don't know, so you're still unstable. But at least you can pretend that you're stabilized in it. They, in the Darwinism, doesn't even bother to give you a false sense of stability. They don't care. You don't know. How do you live like this? And how can you then say, I'm a man? Forget manhood, the cliche superhero man of society. I don't care. I don't care. Give a fuck about none of that. It's for everyone's for them. At the end of the day, it's for you with yourself. How can you have a moment of peace? How can your mind find some kind of satisfaction or appeasement when there's nothing clear? Yeah, I'll tell you how. By shutting everything out. So just as we've explained before, when you have a trauma, your nervous system protects you. So now the infinite grandeur of life is trauma for you. It's a source of trauma for your nervous system, which is incapable of processing the data. You become insane. And of course you have no guidance, and it's been generations that your nervous system has been weakened, so now it's just an overload. So you just shut it out, which puts you in an isolated little bubble. The data, the stream of consciousness is still happening, and you don't know how to swim. You just shut it out. And each person creates their little bubble, and they live in the little world where they feel that they have control or a sense of things, and everything makes sense. But outside is total chaos. How can I be at peace if I'm living in a house and outside there's bomb blowing up everywhere? How do I pretend that I'm at peace? Only a psychopath can pretend they're at peace. Well, this is technically what we're doing. And I'm telling you, it's not enough anymore. Comes in metaverse, online universes. So because it's still too much, we need to make it smaller. We need to cut out more influx of data. And now we're entering into a world that doesn't exist technically. How far do I need to go from reality to feel safe? Now, here's the question. Who owns the fake world? There's reality and you're running away from it. So somebody's creating that world for you. Who owns it? And what's the cost of you finding refuge there? So it says, this is the word Islam. This is not a promotion of Islam. Islam means surrender. Surrender to what? Allah. What is Allah? Let's say Allah is God, right? So you surrender to Allah. Let's say Allah means God. God meaning the source of creation. So you surrender to that power. What do you surrender to? To that universe that allows you to run away from yourself. Yeah, but somebody runs that world. But you don't care. You don't think of that. You don't want to think about this. Neither do you care. You just want a form of respite. And the solution is just go further and further and away from myself. With the impression that I'm going closer and closer to myself. Every step further away I take from myself, I'm being sold that this is one step closer to the real me. Anyways, you need to take some time and think about those things. Relax, feel, stop pretending you don't feel what you feel. Open yourself, observe, and these things become very obvious. How you decide to weave them together and which narrative you want to tell yourself, it doesn't really matter, but the observations are pretty obvious. What is humanity doing? Going further and further and further and further away from their nature. Why? Because they're scared of their nature. It's not complicated to understand. So what is it about their nature that is so horrible?